Let me introduce myself. This is one other life for Crypto Vagabonds Academy. So my name is Boof, and we run the Crypto Vagabonds Academy, the Crypto Vagabonds YouTube channel, and the Crypto Vagabonds, pretty much everything. Now, we are all about security and privacy. In our academy, the basic thing they focus on is security, and then, of course, how the market does affect your cryptocurrencies. And obviously, how can you pass your crypto as inheritance to your offspring. Most people do not know how to do this, or they try to still to rely on government and agencies, which are not necessary. The whole idea of Bitcoin is that you become sovereign, and therefore you are able to do things without the help of third parties or government restrictions. Now, this Sunday, we're going to be covering a few things that happened this week. There was a lot happening this week. One thing that happened the past week was, of course, the situation with Ledger, where a man and his wife got kidnapped, but also Ross Ulbricht got freed. And we're going to be talking about who he was, why he got arrested, how they managed to catch him, and what was negotiated for Donald Trump to release him. So let's start with the kidnapping in France. So, what I'm going to be saying about the kidnapping is just my own speculation. I still don't have evidence. It's just something that I was thinking about. And by the way, it did not surprise me that this happened because Ledger, I think I have it here. This Ledger device I got at a Bitcoin event. The way that this got into my hands, I was stepping out of the event after a VIP dinner or the whale dinner, and bags were being handed out to us. And there were gifts in the bag. I don't know what was in the bag. When I came to a restaurant and I look at the bag, there was a Ledger. Ledger was trying to make up for the previous scandal where they advertised to their clients that their device was impossible to have the seed phrase or the private keys extracted. That was one unique sell point that they had. They got their hackers to take one Trezor, boom, and manage to hack and get the private key from Trezor. They never got the passphrase, but they got the private keys. So Ledger was saying our device will never be able to extract. No one can extract the seed phrase of the device. Now, the crypto space only have two laws. Law number one, not your keys, not your coins. And law number two, do not trust, but verify. So I couldn't verify the code. So to me, they were breaking the second rule or the second law. And then one day there was an upgrade where you could click and you could send away your seed phrase to Ledger and a few other parties. Meaning, one software upgrade, one click, and the seed phrase now could be extracted from the device. Meaning, not your keys, not your coins. If you share your keys with somebody else that does not know, guess what? It's not your coins. So we made videos about that. We talk about that here on the channel. And I'll say now Ledger violate the second law. First law, which is not your keys, not your coins. Your keys are now being shared. And the second law, I couldn't trust the code because I couldn't verify the code. And at the time, I made a video and I remember talking like, what happens? Because now you have a centralized system or a centralized company that has a seed phrase for all the clients that made the upgrade. Now, Ledger released the upgrade without telling their clients, without consulting their clients. Someone saw the upgrade, they figured the upgrade did that, and they got pretty much denounced on forums. And then they came up and say, oops, we made a mistake. So it was a oops moment for Ledger to release this upgrade where people could extract the seed phrase. Now, in my view, there's a difference between Binance, Kraken, Gemini, Coinbase. A centralized exchange has a system in place where it needs multi-signatures in order to be able to extract or to withdraw funds. Ledger was not a centralized exchange. Ledger became a centralized database where they had the client's keys. One point of failure, and everyone was talking about what if the government comes and require you to give those keys? They would have to abide. But what people were not talking about is, what if I put a gun in your face and ask for those keys? What are you going to do? So to me, Ledger was playing with fire because the whole idea of the hardware device is to have all the keys spread in a way that you cannot hack at all. But now, if all those keys are going to be sent to one centralized point, guess what? Whoever is running or whoever's in charge of that centralized point will be at risk. And that's what happened. People figure, wait a minute. If you get this guy, put a gun on him or whatever, this will happen. I feel very glad to hear that they are released. I feel very glad that the wife was not harmed, but I feel very sorry for the man who lost one of his fingers. His hand was mutilated. It is not something that we desire upon anyone, but we also need to be intellectually sincere. They put a huge target on their back when the entire world knows they are the number one hardware device of choice, and there was an upgrade where the seed phrase could be sent to one centralized point, and now that centralized point became a target. That's my theory. This is what people are not talking about. So I was not that surprised that this happened because, in my view, they put a target on their back. I think now, I hope that with this, they start to think a bit better on how to do things. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Maybe they had good intentions. They don't want people to lose their keys. They don't want people to not have access to their crypto because they made a mistake. But that's the nature of crypto. That's the essence of crypto. Responsibility. They took responsibility away from their clients, but they put a target on their back. That's my view on the whole story. That's the reason I believe the guy from Trezor didn't get kidnapped, but the guy from Ledger got kidnapped. Now, apparently, they paid a ransom and they managed to freeze the funds. Now it's still about to find the people who did this. And we got to be careful. That's why no one tells anybody else how many BTC they have, what is their holdings in crypto, because you become a target very, very easily. We saw a few months ago someone else tried to kidnap the wife of a very big Bitcoin influencer. Once you have crypto, once you have Bitcoin, you are your own bank, your own banker, and your own client. You are a target. I make no mistake about this. I know I'm a target. Very few people know where I live. My IP address is in Spain. I'm not in Spain. My mailing address is 30 kilometers away from me. I'm very careful with people that come to my house or knows where I live. Precisely because of that, we can become a target. I don't tell people flight numbers that I'm taking. I appear and I disappear in places. That is the price that you gotta pay in order to have cryptocurrencies. So I feel very sorry, but I'm very happy at the same time that they're all released and they're all pretty much alive, except for some injury. The guy was lost a finger. I feel very sorry for that. But honestly, it did not take him by surprise. So regardless
There
of
is
what go ahead, Corinne.
there's a link that Jushi is sharing here. I'm gonna share the screen.
Go for it. Yeah.
Are we able to speak on
Yeah,
this too? Oh, go
Go ahead,
ahead,
Marcus.
Juicy.
one
Yeah.
second. I'll just say, Marcus, I'll just say quickly. Yeah, this is a link you can find free on the internet, GitHub, and it has like, of course, this is not comprehensive, but yeah, we'll let Marcus go. You'll see. It's about known physical Bitcoin attacks with news articles related to it. Obviously, it's not going to be everything. Go ahead, Marcus. Sorry.
Wow.
No, I think it's an interesting topic, an unfortunate one. It's one that I think we may have done even a pop-up room on Clubhouse that you as you evolve in the space, you really do need to almost change your profile. As Booth really said, now I really like what he said. He said, like, you're your own bank, you're your own client. And if you were to think about that, being your own bank means that there could be bank robbers, which would rob you. And how do you really deal with that? Um, and especially, that's a very complex thing for somebody coming from a traditional business world where it's, your name is everything, right? Your name is your reputation. And I still think that that matters, but I think it's now your pseudonym is your reputation. The rest
Yes.
doesn't matter. The rest doesn't matter. And it's something really to think about. Um, how to really move in the space. Telling people how much Bitcoin you have is certainly a massive risk. I mean, yeah, there's some people, Michael Saylor, it's probably a little bit more visible than other people, but I think the security mechanism around Michael Saylor is a bit different than other people per se. Um, but it's a very interesting take. I think there was a Swedish couple that did Bitcoin education, and they were kidnapped in their home. And I can't are held hostage, I think is what happened. And they ended up having to pay, I can't remember, but it was quite a bit of BTC to just be released from being hostages. And it's something that is unfortunate. But these things happen as a wake-up call for us. So if you're going to be your own bank, you're going to be your own client, you also have to have your own security and how you go about that. So I really do like what Booth said. It was very insightful.
Yeah, and you see when it comes to the academy, right? The basic training is geopolitics and about security and privacy. People are like, why we need to get educated? And I keep saying to people, you should not get into the space if you're not willing to get educated about it. There's a lot of things that you need to receive education about. I remember when Cora came to work with us, I said, you need to delete all your personal social media accounts. And she was like, why? I was like, then don't get into the business. Like, I don't have a personal social media account. Like, people do not know about my private life. They know about my let's say professional life. I buy plane tickets last minute. People are like, oh, you can get a discount if you buy. I'm like, I don't want people to know where I'm going to be a week from now. I buy last minute tickets. I go to the airport. There's one guy who knows where to pick me up to go to the airport, and one guy only. So you gotta be careful. Like, even when Georgia came to visit me, we had to use bags, Faraday bags, to put tracking devices in, or such as telephone and those things. You gotta be careful. You must be taking certain steps. And I think people who come to this space just like looking, that's what I say. If you come to this space only looking at your gains and your bling bling and you're showing off on social media, you get into trouble. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. You need to be educated. You need to change a lot of things before you come to this space. And that's why I say Bitcoin is not for the people, because people are not willing to do this. People are not willing to do what I do, like such as I don't do check-in in a hotel. Like, people, why don't you? I don't do check-in. Somebody else does check-in for me, I get the key. I mean, you gotta be you gotta be taking care of those things, man. It's like
What do you mean by that? By the checking of the...
like, because if you always giving check-in, they always know your name, right? So when I go to a
Yeah,
hotel,
someone
go
could
ahead,
call the
Gustavo.
hotel and ask for your name. In Booth's
Yeah,
case, like, nobody knows anything. I don't know anything. Nobody knows anything. But in other people's cases, they could ask at the hotel at the front desk, hey, is Cora so and so staying here? I need to talk to her. Emergency. There's a funeral or something.
Like,
Or
they
pretend they're
can
the police or
pretend there's an emergency. Okay, that makes sense.
yeah. So people need to be more careful. I see people who enter the crypto space and they keep the same old habits, right? Oh, let me take this photo and post on Instagram that I'm eating at this restaurant. Man, you are a banker. You're gonna take a photo of the restaurant where you are and what you're eating, and you're gonna post that instantaneous online. What are you doing? I'm like, people just don't realize. Like, you gotta change a lot of things about yourself if you want to come to this space, especially if you intend to become successful. Like, you need education. That there's no and again, like Ledger, in my view, has made so many mistakes that it's no joke, you know?
So you say that one of the reasons, like you're saying that the kidnappers were aware of this thing that you mentioned about they getting the kid.
Obviously, they'll go ahead, Cora.
No, I think it's something that a lot of people don't realize, and I would like to really know if they knew that or they just knew that where he was living, because I also think I was looking at his Twitter profile, and he also posted a picture of his house one day, like, many mistakes, I would say. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Maybe it's not, I mean, what you're saying is truth, but I also think he did so many things to be a target, not necessarily with other people's monies or with his clients' money, but also he was not taking care of his security or privacy at all.
Yeah. And another thing that I try to avoid, like I don't have an automobile, I have a motorcycle. Why have a motorcycle? It's easy to get away on a motorcycle. It's not easy to get away on a car. Yes, you're more vulnerable, but you can get away. There's no traffic jam for motorcycles. Like, and people ask why you don't have the motorcycle in your name. I mean, people can take pictures of your motorcycle license plate. It's never going to lead to me. Like, you gotta take certain steps. You don't have to be as paranoid as I am, but you gotta take some steps. Otherwise, you will be in trouble, man. I mean,
I think it's
unescapably.
almost I think it's
Go ahead, Marcus.
almost time no, I think it's almost time that there's like an initiation process before people even the security and privacy pieces. Do you really know what you're signing up for? Because as you said, look, they're not going for the small fish. They're going for big fish, right? And as you become more successful and you've been in the space a long time, you create a greater risk, right? So there are some and I guess it really depends. Also, I was like the society. This happened in Europe, correct?
Yes. I think
That
another
seems to
problem that
be
happens there. Go ahead, Marcus.
especially Europe. No, no, just saying that's where I'm hearing the majority of the crypto kidnappings, Bitcoin kidnappings are happening in Europe. So go ahead, please. I just wanted to say that.
What I want to say is this, right? It's not just, I think the other problem that's happening here in Europe and it's happening in the US as well is this massive immigration without checking out who those people are, right? It does cause an increase on crime. But here, look at the December 2014, Alfini, Santa Barbara, California, right? Bitcoin developer swatted after months. Atlanta, Georgia, BTM thieves strive to smoke shop fire gun. Amsterdam, New York, Netherlands, Lithuania, Palm Beach, Florida. Those are the places where Bitcoin got attacked. Netherlands, London, Florianopolis, Brazil, Dubai, UAE, one case. Japan, Ukraine, North Carolina, France, Toulouse, Los Angeles, New York, Istanbul, Turkey, Iceland, Kiev, Ukraine, Los Angeles, Wisconsin, Russia, Hong Kong, Canada, England, Georgia, Odessa, India, Taiwan, Russia, Connecticut in US, Texas, Singapore, Miami, Florida, Milan, Italy, China, Austria, Massachusetts, New York, Africa, Netherlands. So there is a lot in US as well. England, Austria, Colombia, Nigeria, England, Bangkok, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, England, Canada. So there is a lot of in US as well, Stockholm. But yes, the list goes on. It's very California, Madrid, Hong Kong, Barcelona. Like it's global.
That's
You
the GitHub
gotta
list?
take it. The GitHub list, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So
But any in El Salvador? No, right?
let me
Were
see,
there?
El Salvador,
Okay.
Bali. Let me see, Missouri, India,
No.
a few in UAE, Malaysia, UAE, India, Florida, Toronto, Texas, Sydney, Wuhan, Spain, Queens, New York, Montenegro, Romania, Bangkok, Costa
Colombia.
Rica.
Yeah, but Colombia is kind of a different
No
whole
El Salvador.
package.
No El Salvador.
Interesting. No,
This
okay.
was a 20-year-old Venezuelan woman. Yeah,
In Colombia,
in Colombia.
but and it was tied to her Bitcoin.
No, now that I see here, apparently the Venezuelan woman is the one who is the criminal, and
Okay.
the German man is the victim.
Really?
That makes
So,
more sense.
yeah, I'm just saying you gotta be careful. You really um, must take care on things like. And there's a lot of things that I do, and people are like, oh, Buff, why you do like this? Why you look like I know what I chose. I know what I signed up for. You know.
Well, in our clubhouse discussion on Friday, that I'm still. I think you can see my point on giving your family more choices. I'm never going to apologize for that. I'm never going to apologize for more choices for my family. And this is proof as to why you need more choices, right? The endorsing birth tourism, and giving your family more choices means you have exit plans, you have plan B. There are legal ways to create a secondary profile. In this kind of space, I'm surprised people are not taking those measures. I really, really am surprised. But I think even before we get there is making sure people know what are they signing up for. Period.
Yeah, I think we need to do a video about that, Cora. Like, there are massive risks when it comes to this. It's not just, oh, I'm gonna make money and everything's gonna be fine. Like, that's what I say when you come to the space concerned about the price, you will be screwed because there's so many things that are far more important than the price that you have no clue. It's like,
Yeah, something that comes to my mind is that in the academy, I remember you mentioning like Bitcoin is not like gold, because for gold they can attack you physically to get you to speak where it is, where the gold is, or the money, whatever. But you has been mentioning like with Bitcoin, that could be, there is a way to make it be impossible, even
impossible.
if they
Yeah,
have you, even if they torture you, whatever, there is no way for them to get the money.
yeah.
So is that even?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you got to create a system that if a gun is on your face, you don't betray yourself, right? And I have said this in Clubhouse, I have said this in Academy, and I say there's trainings. Like, if you look at the training that I give, say, puncture something on the Trezor, Trezor is gone. You don't have the seed phrase on your house. Like, you make yourself like impossible or immune to what they call the wrench attack. That is I think the language we use in space. When someone hits you with the wrench, like, you got to put yourself, in a place where you are protected from your own vulnerabilities. That's what I mean by that training academy.
What I think
And
is,
go ahead, Corin.
no, I just think that if you think all the time these people that are trying to get crypto from you, and you're a victim, like physically there, and they attack you, you think they always have the knowledge? Because I wonder if it is that way, if they always have the knowledge of, because
Oh,
maybe
yes.
they don't believe you that you don't have access to your own money. You know what I mean? I mean, that
Look,
could be difficult to believe.
the thing is, believe it or not, right? Like I'll give an example to you. Like, they took this guy's finger, right?
Hmm.
How many people are willing to continue losing fingers and they have the private keys? Just an example, right? Somebody takes someone who's dear to my sister, my daughter, like you think, what, they're gonna let my dear ones die if I have the key? No, I put myself in a situation where I don't have the key, right? I have a small balance with me for my day in, day out things, but my phones are not where I can reach. There are like at least 72 hours between me and my phones. You gotta create that system, right? Where even if I want, I don't have access. Because if you do have access, or someone has immediate access, it's gonna happen. It's a matter of time. Someone's gonna come to you, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think the other part that might be a bit closer to home for people is the legal ramifications. So it's going to depend obviously on jurisdictions, countries, and all this kind of stuff. But there can be situations where potentially there's a court order. Let's say you're going through a divorce or you're going through a business breakup, and the police or some kind of authorities come in and they say, "Hey, give us all your computer data, give us all your copies of this and that," and you may have to provide it if you have access to it. So by having a firewall of certain amount of time, like Bruce says, 72 hours, that could help you in those situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to protect yourself and your family's wealth. Still, I believe that there are some things that are unavoidable. I mean,
No.
yeah.
Things are unavoidable. Yes. Certain things are. However, I'm gonna give an example to you. Eventually, I'm gonna have a motorbike accident, right? Only has two wheels. One day it's gonna fall, but I can take steps to prevent my damage. I can get a suit with this airbag on me. I make sure I don't do certain things. I drive in a certain way when I like. You can diminish the damage. Would I be able to say, "Oh, I'm never gonna fall"? I fall from a motorbike twice. I fell twice. Once on a traffic light when I was parked. Another one here in the garage. I think you saw it. I felt, but I fell and I didn't get hurt, right? So eventually it's gonna fall. But the question is, are you trying to diminish the damage for when that happens, you know? Or you're trying to increase the damage? This idea of Ledger to say, send all the private keys to us, that is definitely increasing the damage and increasing the probability that something's gonna happen to you.
So the other thing then though is kind of when you have a family, you have different vulnerability points, right? And I I don't know in this case, but I believe that there have to have been other cases that people are aware of the children or they're aware of the spouse. And I have to imagine that that's something else, just training about, hey, this is how um, preparing your family for understanding this too. I mean, there's a lot of upside, but there certainly is some risk, period. People around you could, oh, let's say that a few years from now, um, your child says, "Oh, my daddy has Bitcoin," and then wherever, right? And then his little friend goes and talks to his parent. You don't know who's on the other side. Oh, you know, Mr. B has Bitcoin. Okay, what are we gonna do? Right? Um, I see in the area that I'm in, I see people that have dogs. They don't worry about necessarily, I mean, you don't see bodyguards very often. You see dogs. And one guy said, this helps me sleep at night. And what do I mean by the dogs? I mean dogs that will protect you, that are trained for that, right? So I just use that as an example.
But
Nothing is foolproof, but
yeah.
what about those attack vectors, the family, because that's another way, right? That's another way. Go ahead,
Look,
please.
I'm gonna give an example to you, right? I tell everyone who's close to me, don't be around drunk people, right? I'm a Muslim. I am in an event, I'm in any situation, people start to drink, I walk away. I just walk away. And I don't want any of my family or there wants to be around drunk people. Why? When you're drunk, you talk too much. That's one. When you are drunk, you are in a space where things are going to happen to you. I'm going to give an example to you, right? Let's say I have a daughter, she went on a party, she got drunk. She got drunk and she got passed out. Someone takes her phone, pretend to be kidnapping her. She's just sleeping. How am I going to prove that that's not my daughter? How am I going to say that, like, you're bringing things up on yourself? When I go to a restaurant, I see people sitting with me taking pictures of the food. I say, listen, if you're going to do that, I'm going to go away. I don't need people to know what I'm eating, who I'm eating with. What is that?
Wait, they
I know
take a
the
picture of the
risks.
food. They take a picture of the food and then your
And
face, or they take a picture of just the
no,
food.
but Marcos, if people know that you are together, right?
Oh no,
They're
no,
taking
no, no, no. Oh, just a question. Are they taking a picture of the food or of you
just the
with the food?
food. But
Okay.
let's put it this way. They know I'm spending this week with you, right? We are in a restaurant table. They know who your daughter is. Your daughter takes a picture of the dessert and posts instantaneous on Instagram, the restaurant that we are in and the dessert she's eating. They know I'm with
It's
you.
done. It's done. No,
It's
no,
done.
posting on Instagram. Okay. No. Because
I'm
even
like,
I'm looking at their risk profile. Sometimes they take pictures of food to remember what the dish is. I never, I don't, I'm not on Instagram. I'm not
so,
on Instagram.
but you catch
Yeah,
my
but I
drift now.
understand. I do.
Like,
Yes.
people
But
say
there's
I'm rude. I get up and go. I'm like, okay, I'm out of here. You
but
know?
Boof, there's another
But you get
there's a
What?
Boof,
go ahead.
there's another thing like on the cybersecurity kind of area, and this is a whole nother rabbit hole. But when people take pictures, sometimes they leave location on their phone, right? So then
Yes.
you have the look. That's how they got the one of the Mexican drug cartel guys. He took a picture and had a location, and then they were able to the feds were able to drop into Mexico and work with the Mexican police and get him, right?
Yes. Like, there's a lot of things that we need to do. Like, people think we are paranoid. Like, when Juche, because Juche is a responsible guy, when he came to my house, he stayed in a hotel. When we decided to come to our house, he asked me, can you bring a Faraday bag for me to put the devices in and, like, take this off, take that off, right?
What is that?
A Faraday bag
I
is the bag that you put in since no signal, you know? You see me having that, like, it look like foil inside, you know?
yeah, I
I
know,
think
but
I
I
think
think
I've
it's
sent one to you. I think I've sent one to you
No, I have
before.
plenty.
Oh, to no
Cora, if you
to Cora.
Cora,
to me, no.
Cora,
No.
If you just go on Amazon quickly, Cora, just go on
Okay.
Amazon quickly and look up Faraday bag. You'll see it.
Mm.
I have like all
Or
sizes.
Google Images even.
See, I have all sizes, like
What is the name again? I didn't hear
Faraday
it.
bag. So I
Uh,
always
uh,
buy a set with many
yeah.
sizes, but this one is you put laptop, e-reader, you know,
You
close
can
it, and
also
we're ready
get
to go.
RFID blocking bags. They
Oh yes, I
that's what
have those
I'm
as
looking
well.
for. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
you gotta do
So,
this. I mean, so you gotta be
but
careful.
so my wife was almost SIM swapped in December. And she started to freak out and she said, I know all the crazy things you do. She calls them crazy. It's excessive, rotating passwords, using multiple phones. And she said, I can kind of understand now why you would do this. You know, I can kind of understand um that would happen. And that seems like the first step. A SIM swap is an easy first step to start figuring out the patterns of people, um, especially in the crypto
Yeah,
world. So
yes.
yeah.
And another thing that I do that
Yeah.
people think is a bit paranoid is this. Look, I'll show you. So, oh,
Boof, I
now
think this will be
somebody.
like a Boof, this will be a rabbit hole for the next Academy event, all the kind of things to do. But yeah, go ahead.
No, someone. I left my phone with someone. They needed to use it, and they thought they were doing me a favor, and they didn't do me a favor. But they put the right date on my phone. My phone is a way for me to know that I'm not online. This is a dumb phone. what I do is always have the wrong time and the wrong date and the wrong year. The moment it goes automatically, I know I have the wrong phone. So I need to play with it again. Oh, but it still had the wrong time, even though it's the date. So
Yeah.
get a dumb phone, take a few steps, man. Like, yeah.
So
And another thing I'm gonna say, here's a confession. People are gonna freak out. Always be armed. Must make sure that you're able to protect yourself. Find a way to remain armed all the time. So
yeah, even if even if you don't have arms, the people who want to do something bad to you, they're gonna be armed. So
yeah,
that is the thing that that is not logic to me. Like, why wouldn't you have arms if someone wants to damage your family or hurt you or whatever? They are gonna have arms, so you are vulnerable. It's
But there's a very false facade, I think, that what we're getting to is, right? There's the days of um, you know, Bitcoin liberation from the fiat monetary system, creating this new system. There's a very idyllic view, or idyllic or ideal, I don't know, a very ideal view of that. And I think that that's kind of gone, right? You see this in the NFT space, and it's kind of peace and love, but there's a very real sense of, and I think people can get into the community, into the space, and they can feel that, right? You feel you have a very good understanding with a lot of people, and then boom, those same people that you were having, you know, maybe you were at an event. Suddenly somebody's studying you, they're tracking you, right? And it's all fun, right? I mean, there are people that are professionals at really kind of getting your personality, getting your vulnerabilities. They get your guard down, and then boom, it happens. That's how it happens. But I think the I've seen at enough of these events that um that's what happens. Now, I also have seen at events, I've seen people that go in with Friday the 13th masks and a hoodie on. They never show their face. They say, look, you're here for my reputation. You're not here to see who I am. That's it. I'm here for the knowledge. I'm here for sharing. That's it. And I totally respect it even more now. And that's what I
yeah.
think happens, why people are not that way, right? I mean, very, very, please don't take this the wrong way. If you went to an event, you could be there with yourself, very pleasant, nice, engaging with people, but you could have an ulterior motive in your mind. And I'm saying there could be several different quotas, and the person could be, oh, you know what, she was really nice, right? That was very, very nice. And you just don't know, I mean, um, expression that I've heard for most of my life. We don't really see people, a gente vê cara, não vê coração, right? It's very normal. It's very normal.
yeah. I just recommend people like who are into the space to, if they want, I mean, the academy is available. Use the link in the description or another video or on a YouTube channel. Book a call, get access to the academy if you want to get trained on this and find out ways in which you can diminish the chances of this happening to you. Or if they do happen to you, that you have at least a certain degree of preparation to deal with this. Because You are a banker, make no mistake. You are a banker when you have crypto, when you have Bitcoin. And it's not for the people, it's for the sovereign. I keep saying that and people don't understand what I mean. But if you don't understand what I mean, please, Cora, just share the screen and let's show the amount of time that those things have happened that we know of and that have been reported. I mean, the list is overwhelming. Thank you, Juju, for sharing that list, you know. People need to come to terms with this. It's not, and then we're going to go to the next subject. But look at this, guys. It's not, and it's worldwide. It's like everywhere on the planet. Like, it happens.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have a link to the media story beside it there on the right where the description
Yeah.
is. So you guys can
And
kind of fact check it or whatever.
Yeah.
this is the thing we were talking about, and
Yeah.
something else already happened.
Yeah. But look at this. Just this year alone that you know of, look,
Mhm.
2025, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, like, about what? More than 5, almost 10 cases we know already
I
for this
think,
year.
yeah, 8. Mhm.
Huh?
I think 8. Yeah, 8.
8. And we're not even on the end of the first month. So,
Well, can I ask a question though, Juche? These are just physical Bitcoin attacks. I'm even talking about what about people in other cryptos, right? For lack of a better term. So I was going to talk a little bit about this when we move on to the next subject. Do we have exposure to that? Oh, okay. I see it. I see it. Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
Thank you.
and say this here, look, what I like about this, because stay there, please, don't move. What I like and I want people to pay attention is this. Note, this list is not comprehensive. Many attacks are not public reported. Like, these are the ones that got reported. There are a lot of people who just feel shameful after this happened and they never report. These are the ones that got reported. So we gotta be careful.
Well, but wait a minute. Okay, so when we look at these, can you click on the description? Can you go to the one, please? That's just
This one or
no,
another?
sorry, go back.
Mhm.
Go to the one that says Dwayne Richards, New York, New York. Firefighter kidnapped, robbed of, and stabbed by crypto thieves. Please click on that.
It's loading. Hmm.
Hinge. Okay. That's what I thought.
What? Oh, okay.
Can you scroll to so that we don't see Vlad? No. Sorry. No. Come back out, please. Please come back out. No. It's too zoomed in, please. Sorry. It's too zoomed in. Can you zoom out, please?
Make the image smaller. Make the image smaller, Cora. Yeah.
Thanks. That's the part. So okay.
Which part, Marcus?
I'm just reading the beginning of
It says responded to a Craigslist ad below.
exactly.
Where is
Where?
that?
The 28-year-old victim told police he went to a street corner there to meet a man who had answered his Craigslist.com ad offering Bitcoins for sale. Okay.
Yeah, because this was like 20, what does it say, 2015 or something it was?
Yeah, 15.
Yeah, but you're
2015.
talking about you're talking about okay, yeah, $1,000 worth of Bitcoin at the time. That makes more sense to me. Okay. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, we have to reset. Because it's a very yeah. Okay, that's fine. Thanks. So can you go back to the main page, Cora?
Mhm.
Okay, can we go to this year, please? And what are some of the cases now in 2025? Okay, so the Miami jeweler one. Let's click on that one.
Miami jeweler.
Okay, okay, so I'm trying to see the connection to Bitcoin. Let's scroll over, please, just for a second. I can't see, sorry. It's only showing the advertisements on the nope. Okay, just okay.
Then below, there's more.
What's the attach? Yeah, what's the
What's the what?
attachment to Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies? I don't see it.
It looked like she scrolled fast, but I saw a couple paragraphs down. It was they wanted to get
Can we move it so the paragraphs are very clear?
Here. It's here.
I can't. Okay, I can't see the right-hand side.
What do you
Okay,
mean?
thanks.
Okay.
Zoom out just a tad, please. Thanks. And the reason I'm doing this is because I think, there's content to be made, right? Around this, and really how can people take steps? And I just want to see the next day. I can't see. I only see white on the. I only
the
see
source
white.
told my mic might be loud, but it says the source told investigators. Paragraph above that. If you want to read that, Cora, the source told investigators. The second paragraph below the alleged plot. The source told investigators that Jack had been in contact with the victims online and was seeking to exchange a large amount of cryptocurrency for cash, authorities said.
There we go. So the guy was trying to sell.
And then you see there, authorities say also that they sent a source of a screenshot of the victim's digital wallet showing he had $2 million worth of crypto.
So you see, Cora, they know. They don't just go.
Yeah.
Okay,
They know
so
what they're doing. Can you read now,
okay.
Mark?
No, you moved it again, but it's fine. I can read it now. Hold on again. Now I can see it. Now I can see it. You see what's happening to is a common thing, right? A Telegram group. In it, were Jack along with participants identified as Dot, Swipey, and Tim. Interesting. Okay, so in multiple cases, I don't see that's where I think people are they're leaving their digital tracks. They're feeling that they can go online, and again, everything is sweet. It's just not that sweet. It's not that sweet. It's just not, right? It's not. And that's what I think Boof is saying. If you're signing up for this, you are your own bank. So the bank is going to go to Telegram to trade money. Okay. Well, so I think it's a really good topic on how to cover your tracks, how to really just, I mean, this seems, I say it, but it could happen 101, right? It's 101 type stuff. Then you get into a higher level of things. So thanks for taking the time to go through this. I feel for the family. I know it was for the best intentions that I think they launched the product. I think they, like you said, Booth, it was with good intentions, but the result not great. And it's really how do you make this happen? And the setup could be exactly as we talked about. Hey, daddy has Bitcoin. Oh, hey, I'm having a birthday party next week. You show up, nobody is there.
Yeah.
And you that's what happens.
Another thing people also don't realize is like they start to make parties, right? We saw this with that guy, Jimmy Song, right? Oh, I have all this money, you make a party. You pay for everything, people come to your house, people are drinking in your house, and then they start to see, oh, there's this door open here. Oh, there's this thing here which is valuable. Oh, if I come here and know what is here, I can get that, right? Oh, maybe when he's out of the house, he has a nice flat screen TV. It's like, you don't know who's coming to your house when you start to make those parties to get people drunk, right? And then that's exactly what happened with Jimmy's song. Somebody broke into the window when he was not there. Oh, I lost, I don't know, at the time, like a couple of hundred Bitcoins, right? Millions in BTC. But how he lost millions in BTC? Let's make a party in my house. Let's get everybody drunk in my house. I see this in Brazil. People make parties. They have Apple computers in their home. An Apple computer in Brazil is $5,000. It's like people don't realize they invite those things in, you know?
Yeah. There's another, hopefully if I'm too loud, just mute me, but there's another aspect which is somewhat related, I think, to it, which is the LA fires. And if people like, you could actually lose your stuff in the fires. So you definitely want to have a backup plan. That's going to help you not just in the robbery, but in the event that there's a fire or some kind of earthquake or something happens.
Yeah, that's another point, right? Like you need to have backups. You need to have fire bags. Now you need to have metal backups, fire bags, different, like there are things, once again, there's a lot you need to get to know to come to this space. Like fires do occur, flood does occur. Like the house next door, there was so much leaf on the roof, the whole place got flooded. So water is a threat, fire is a threat. You need to invest in security. And then people, when I give the price to people, like this is the price, this is what's gonna take. Can you make it cheaper? Like then you're not ready to be a banker. You're just not ready to be a banker. That's all. So, uh, all right.
Well,
So, well, got it.
no, yeah, I was gonna say that it's been a pretty good conversation so far. People are sometimes really not caring about security, and then we see these cases, and it's really concerning. But would you like to talk now about Ross?
Yeah, I want to talk about Ross. Ross is another case, right? Ross. So once again, I'm incredibly happy that he's out. I don't believe he deserved the sentence that was given to him, 2 life sentences plus 40 years. Let's talk about what Ross did, right? Now, before talking about this, I need to make a few disclaimers and a few like clarification. I am not pro anyone intoxicating themselves. As I just mentioned, when people drink, I walk away. I don't want anyone in my family to be using drugs. I don't believe, and this is going to sound a little bit strange, like as much as I'm a libertarian, I understand one thing. There is a limit between freedom and what works. Discipline works. Virtue works. It's not because you are a human being, oh, I can do whatever I want. No. That leads to barbarism, right? I see people in the US, which hurts me, like kids, teenagers at the age of 15, 18, taking a can of beer, blah, making a hole there, drinking, blah, and showing off. Like, that's barbarism. That's not civilization. Where is your parent? What education you got? So there's a spectrum there. However, I also have seen the violence that is generated by just outlawing everything, right? Cocaine in Colombia in the 90s or 2000, the cost of production was between $100 to $100. By the time it got to New York, it was $200,000, $150,000. Why? Why a product increase its value by 1,000 folds just by going from one geographical location to another? Because it's forbidden. There's violence. You have to go to law enforcement. You have to pass through police. Now, if we're going to have a society where the family is destroyed and everyone is hyper-consuming drugs, because one thing, the problem is the demand. It's not the people producing. People won't produce things without a demand. If you create a society where the demand is huge for this product, we need to start to look at ourselves. Like Denzel Washington said, where was his father? And where was his father? It starts at home, right? What Ulbricht did to me was a great thing. It's like, okay, there's so much violence into this market. Let me create a website and cut the violence out. I don't want people selling drugs on the door or on the neighborhood of my kids. I don't want that. If they can order by the post office, receive by the post office, and we're going to diminish the violence. Wait a minute. I'm totally pro that. I cannot go against that. It's diminishing violence. So that's what Ulbricht did. That took him to jail. The thing is, at the time, BTC was labeled something criminal. I wonder if it was just about the drugs or the fact that BTC was enabling this. The same thing with WikiLeaks. BTC enabled payments. Now, the US is not against violence. If they were against violence, they would not allow PayPal and Visa and MasterCard to process donations to neo-Nazi groups, to KKK groups. They wouldn't allow that if they really were against violence. Because those guys can only advocate for violence. Go ahead, Cora.
No, I was just gonna say that I was also corn content, you know, because I was watching a podcast yesterday, and basically Visa and MasterCard, they also do these payments that are for sometimes, you know, criminal situations there with sometimes kids or people that are not even aware, and they are accepting these payments, and the US is doing pretty much nothing about that, you know, about these pages. So it's just because there's money involved.
Yes. So, and the thing is, Pablo Escobar, they had dollars. He didn't have cryptocurrencies. Pablo Escobar was taking with dollars. So one thing I want to make sure, like, I'm not endorsing this. I don't want anyone in my family to do this. However, if you manage to let your society go astray to that point, and someone comes with a tool to diminish the violence, they can create a website. That's what he did. He was not a mafia boss. He was not the head of the Bambino family. He was not the Sopranos headquarters. No, that was not what he did. Another thing which he did on his childhood, which people may not know, which I admire, the US creates laws that you're supposed to know those laws, because that's the thing people don't understand. When a government writes a law, you are like, you're supposed to know. It's not that you're supposed to know. They take from the point that you know already. You cannot say, "Oh, I did not know." That excuse doesn't exist. It's your responsibility to know the laws. So they create the laws, and if you want to know what the law is, you have to pay for them to send you a copy. So people were paying to receive these copies each time, each instance. So what Ulrich did when he was a kid, he created software. If you pay for the law to be made public to you, he will take a copy and make that public on somebody else to download for free because you already paid for it. That's another thing which he did. So he was free information. Like, how is it that there is this law that the government will treat me as if I know it, but I have to pay to know it? And if my neighbor wants to know it, they have to pay as well. So he just freed those laws. He put a hard drive, I think, on a university. That was a small case against him. Now, those are not violent crimes. You cannot sentence someone who created a website or freed information into prison for 2 consecutive lives plus 40 years. There are people who have committed violent crimes. They're not for that time. So I think, like, they're not spend that time in jail. That's not a sentence. Should he be in jail? Maybe. Should he receive life sentence? No. Another thing which they did to him, they create all these articles and whatever, villainize the kid. Look, they demonize him. When he found out that the federal agent that stole his BTC, because one thing is seizing, another thing is taking that which was seized and using for myself. So there was one agent who took BTC from him, which was seized, spent, and then he went to jail. The reaction of Ulbricht when that happened, like, wow, I feel sorry for his family. He was not even like, oh, it should happen. I'm in jail here. He robbed. No, he wasn't. That is not the reaction of a devilish person. The first thing that came to his mind, the first response when he received the news was, wow, I feel sorry for his family. He was not an evil person. what he did, create a website, and now, and it's not just him. We
But
saw an article. Go ahead, Juchen. Go ahead, Juchen.
I just want to say, when you tell me, like when you talk about this, you kind of triggered my mind. When I think about this, tell me if I'm wrong, but he created a website to link the buyer and the seller, right? What, right? But hang on, the, the government made an intersection of road, right? Like a street corner. They made the road, they made the website, the physical website to link the buyer and the seller. So is the government guilty when two people meet up on a street corner and they provided the road and the pavement and the sidewalk for drug dealers to meet? So isn't that the same thing?
It's exactly the same thing. What I like about Ulbricht, like there was no pornography. There was some kind of how can I say
Limits or rules.
no, there's another when you audit things and you erase things, there's a word in English for that. What is the word, Marcus?
When you what? When you do
To,
when you
to,
what
ar-
things?
to
Iterate?
audit,
It's kind of
to audit
moderating. That there was a moderation, I would say. Like
Oh, okay.
this is all that's not allowed, right? It was clean, it was not violent.
So you're
No.
saying that there were like actual people moderating the content and making sure.
Moderating certain things, yeah. There
Wow.
was a degree of moderation on the website.
I
So
definitely.
It was so long ago. I don't even remember, because I believe I was signed up on that on Silk Road and a few other dark web markets at the time. But I didn't buy anything. I'm not into that stuff. I just wanted to look around. It was just at that time, it was just so interesting. Like people selling bullets and passports and all these things. It was just crazy at the time to go on this Tor browser and check it all out. It was just crazy.
I order a few things like a prank, right? Like an ID with a picture of Santa Claus saying Santa Claus, like some obvious I think I still had a driver license that I ordered with a Santa Claus picture and the name written like it's a joke, like you can't really take that seriously, right? So but I went to some things and I just felt like pranking people. I I learned this from a friend that I had at the time, and he had a credit card, an ID card, and the whole thing like he got on the dark web, and they say Dr. Bullshit on his credit card on his ID card. So you can order those things and like just make a prank, right? Like just have fun. You can get those things on a dark web. So I have ordered those things like inspired by my friend. He was from New Zealand and he just had this thing called like Dr. Bullshit, like his ID card and his bank card. So I mean, you can go and have fun. I ordered something, I think it was Silk Road, but I didn't even then like ordering those things. I never saw BTC becoming a currency that the world was going to use was video gamers and Silk Road, and then it became Silk Road 2.0. By the time I understood BTC and I got into BTC, which was 2015, then was I think the Alphabet was the marketplace on the dark web, and I was with a friend at the time, and we ordered some things like to have fun. We were in Bulgaria, and my friend was so afraid, and we shipped things to Italy, and we picked it up in Italy. But things like a driver license with the Santa Claus name, and like just to make fun, right? And but I had fun with the dark web. I still do. I like to go from time to time and see what's there. The currency they use now is Monero and a few other currencies. They don't use Bitcoin anymore, but they use the PGP encrypted system of communication, which we also use. So, but what happened is after they took Silk Road, many more of those marketplaces pop out, like Alphabet. They took Alphabet out at one point as well. But if you look at what was happening on Alphabet and what was happening on Silk Road, it's totally different. And what they did is, here's what happened. The whole case against Ulbricht was manufactured because he used the Dread Pirate Roberts, right? DPR was his name that he used, but there were more than one. And the investigators got someone who was working on the maintenance of the site, and they got the guy's account and they started to pretend to be people monitoring the account. And then there were requests for someone to kill or whatever. And apparently they put it on the Ulbricht, ordering the killing of this guy. When the guy came to court, the guy testified in defense of Ulbricht, and the people are like, why are you testifying against a guy who ordered your murder? He's like, I know this guy. He would never have ordered anyone to kill me because he was not a murderer. He was a guy trying to diminish violence. And then they found out there was more than one DPR. So they tried to make an example of him. And I don't think people should go to that time in prison for creating a website. Now, one thing we need to understand is BTC is an instrument that delivers you freedom. But with that, it comes responsibilities. And it's beyond just being your banker. You need to be protective of your privacy. Now, we have other cases which are not just Ulbricht. We have the Tornado Cash guy who also just created a code, and a tool online, and he is now being in jail. So I feel very happy that Ross is free, but there are a few more people who are paying a very high price for the so-called freedom of speech and the freedom to transact. Now, let me tell you something about freedom. No country wants freedom for the population. Not the US, the land of the free, wants freedom for the population. Your freedom to do things is directly correlated to your irrelevance. If you create a website and only 100 people uses, you have no problem. Why are they after Andrew Tate? Why they're after Joe Rogan? Because you became relevant. Your freedom is directly correlated with your irrelevance. The moment you become relevant, believe me, there's no freedom. So you can see here, I want to share it with you guys, people who got relevant, just like Ulbricht. If there were only 50 guys using his website, this would not have happened with him. It happened because it became relevant. So let me know when you can see my screen. I think we need to read this here. This is a very beautiful article from the Bitcoin magazine, right? So Rod is free, but the war or the conflict is far from over. So yes, he's not, right?
Your screen yet. I cannot see your screen yet. It's like, okay, now, yes, I can see it.
So this is the article. Ross is free, but the situation or the conflict is far from over. Ross will not be the last person the government tries to make an example of. I agree. He became relevant. He's free. And the person says, I predicted this will be one good thing for this administration. Now, it's important to understand one thing. Donald Trump made a deal with the libertarians. Vote for me, and I will free Ross. And on some swing states where the libertarians were in larger numbers, he got elected by a small margin, but he got the delegates. So it was a deal. Donald Trump is good at making deals. It was a deal where everybody won. So this is Ross. I suggest everyone to listen to this. He was on a call from prison. It's about 20-some minutes. You can see that this guy is not an evil, violent person. But here talks also about other people who are paying the price today. Let's see here.
It's just below the video.
Just below the video, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's one thing that I find important before I go to there. Actual murderers and rapists serve a tiny fraction of the sentence that was lived against Ross, and that's true. Many people who commit violent crimes do not receive 2 life sentences plus 40 years, okay? Now, once again, I'm not saying he should not pay, whatever. I'm just saying the sentencing was extremely disproportional, at least in my view. Now, he's not the only example. Governments have tried to make since 2013. So since 2013, he's not that example. we had trainings in the academy for the Samurai Wallet. So the Samurai Wallet team are currently under house arrest, awaiting trial for hosting and backend for 100% self-custodial service. So for those who don't know, Samurai Wallet allows you to have self-custody, and is a tool that also helps you to increase your privacy. I thought privacy was a human right. Again, your privacy, you have rights to your privacy until you become relevant. So we have here Roman Sterginov in jail for running a centralized mixer with no evidence other than flawed blockchain heuristics. So all the guy did was create a tool that would mix your BTC. Purely code. So if you talk about freedom of speech, code is just text. That's what it is. So the Tornado Cash case has developers dealing with cases and jail in multiple jurisdictions. That's one other example. And the reason is because governments want to make sure that they control your freedom to transact. You're not free to transact. You're never an adult. They can block, revert the same way that Trudeau did with the truck drivers. So just so you guys to know, there are other people that are having to pay the same price as Ross for committing no violent crime. And the reason is the governments are afraid of your freedom to transact, because once you have that freedom to transact privately, they're afraid of us. They're afraid of anyone that can do that. They want to have you under a leash with chains on you where you're not free to transact. You're not free to do things because they're afraid of you. We are all evil people. Those who want to be private, those who want to transact freely, we are all evil by the government. And our freedom, again, is directly correlated with our irrelevance or insignificance. The moment you become significant, you see what they did with Andrew Tate and what's the name of Joe Rogan. Okay, so the government is not going to stop to make examples. And it doesn't matter that Trump enjoys the benefits of unregulated monetary extraction possible in this space. So it was a deal. But there are more people paying for this. I'm not talking about FTX. FTX commit fraud, some bankmen freed, took money from people. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people realizing that the land of the free, is not so much freedom. And they're trying to create tools to increase your ability to be private. Because believe it or not, the elite is private. JP Morgan pays fines every year for money laundering, not 1 hour in jail. All those guys who run the commercial banks, look at every commercial bank, every single year, they pay millions in fines for violating transaction rules, for money laundering, for a lot of things, not 1 day in jail. The banks that provide service to, what's the name again, the guy? Madoff, not 1 hour in jail. So it's not about
Bernie Madoff went to jail though. He was
no, but not the banks. Not the banks that provide him accounts without verification.
No. That's just Madoff. Okay. Yeah.
Just him. But he wouldn't be able to pull that off without the banks pretending they didn't see it and letting certain things go. Bernie Madoff would not be able to pull off what he pulled off if the banks have done their work. He didn't qualify for the accounts and to move billions and millions. He didn't have the receipts or the documentation to do that. Which banker went to jail? The scandal in 2008. 1 person went to jail, I think, in Iceland. Did he receive 2 life sentences?
No. I can see that. I can see.
Yeah,
I do. Yes.
yeah.
And I think he got all of his Bitcoin confiscated or something like that.
Yes.
I don't think the banks are getting anything confiscated.
Yeah. They just pay a fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that there is a double standard, and there's a lot of articles, there's a lot of videos painting Ross as a evil person. He's not an evil person.
Mm.
Like you can look at him on any interview, on any footage. There's no evidence of him being evil whatsoever. No. He has libertarian values. He's influenced by the Austrian School of Economics, Ludwig von Mises, and a few other libertarians. But evil? No. Not in my view. So I will be
Yeah.
making a video about this and explaining to you guys more about what happened, about his early life, and how this whole thing unfolded, and the role of Trump, how the deal went. So stay tuned, because we're going to be making a video explaining this to you guys, at least the most important headlines of this whole thing. So
Yeah. The most I remember, I don't know, when I was younger or whatever, a teenager maybe, I thought that, that governments were something greater, and that there were like maybe some evil ones, but the US was, a pretty amazing government and things like that. And then, the more you read, you see what's going on, you realize that they are just regular people caring about their own stuff. Because to me it's amazing, and it's something I don't know how to feel about that. Like, how come they are putting so much time and effort in doing this to him, and not into this, like I mentioned, these corn sites that they are sometimes promoting, violence and kids and things that I don't want to talk too much about the terms, but you know what I'm trying to say. And they are not putting effort there. They should be in jail forever, and they are not, and they are not even caring or putting time, money, or effort into putting these people in jail. But then this guy, because there's money involved, there are different interests that these politicians has, then he goes to prison forever. Like, to me, is
they don't believe in freedom. And I mean, you are now in South America, right? Every wall that is built in that land, I build without permission. I never had to ask permission to build. Every tree I plant, I can cut, I can do whatever, no permission. You come to the Western world, like US, like the guys say on Clubhouse, you cannot remodel your kitchen without asking permission from your master. You cannot cut the branch of a tree in your house without asking permission from your master. You finish school with a $500,000 debt for going to university. That is also your master. They have a very predatory system in the US, and they keep on saying you're free, you're free, you're free. You're not free. You're not free, and you have no virtues. Now, how is it that, again, I'm not advocating for this. How is it that the West cut the funds for African countries because they don't want to endorse mutilation of your private parts? And at the same time, they go to some other African country where it's part of the culture to take the clit from the women. While in Canada, a 16-year-old can mutilate everything without the parents' consent. The freedom that they give, and I believe this, I heard this in Clubhouse, and I really believe this, the freedom which is given is the freedom to be barbaric, not to be civilized. Because it's not civil, there's no civilization in this. When advocates of freedom, when instruments of freedom come into creation, they go after it. Silk Road was an instrument for freedom. So many privacy tools that allows us to talk privately and gives us freedom. Bitcoin is an instrument for freedom. And I will repeat here, a government that goes against Bitcoin is not a government that cares about the people or the freedom of those people. It's the greatest way to measure where your government stands on privacy and your rights as an individual is Bitcoin. Any country that goes against it, I would say to you, is a totalitarian country or wants to become a totalitarian country. To me, the Democratic Party, they were attempt to become totalitarians because, especially by Elizabeth Warren, they came very strong against BTC. They defund or they took away all the banks that were working with the crypto space. Those politicians, they have totalitarians' thirst and hunger. That's what they want to become. Because if they cared about freedom and privacy and respect private property for the population, they would embrace and endorse Bitcoin as it is being done now by some politicians and by Donald Trump. That's my view on this matter. There's no interest for freedom in the United States. You are free. Your freedom, again, is directly correlated with your irrelevance. Nothing more. Remain irrelevant and you have freedom. Becomes relevant and you see that that freedom is not there.
Yeah. I think there has been some changes now with Trump. Still, human being with his own like priority
Flaws?
flaws.
Oh.
Yeah, like intentions, whatever, you know what I mean? But something good that we were also going to talk in the live is that now CBDCs are like not allowed in the US. That's
Yes.
good for, at least.
But a crazy thing I just posted for you all to see is that apparently, and this is what happens when business people do get into government related to that, and it's the topic. Apparently, Trump is now saying any crypto project that's US based, the buy and sale of the cryptos will be capital gains free. He just, if that is in effect, he's just made a huge move. I just posted this for you guys. It is a
That's
very
beautiful.
he just changed the game completely. If that is absolutely true, it's he's making all the moves to make the US, because guess what? He's a smart man. When he dumps his Trump coin, you have to pay a lot of capital gains.
Yeah.
He's a smart
true.
guy. He's a smart
true.
guy.
But that's true, but I want to play the West character for a second. I've been talking to some people, we talk to people on Clubhouse, right? And some people don't sell because of the capital gains that I've spoken to. They are so scared of it. They're like, I can't trade into Tether. I can't sell my coins yet because capital gains, I have to wait till next year when I'm lower tax bracket or this and that. So I think it's going to put potentially also, devil's advocate says it might put some sell pressure on the market because people will feel more freedom to sell, at the same point. So I think it cuts both ways. I think it's good in the end, but I do think it might potentially have a negative price impact. If prices were to rise a bit, people they're more free to take profit. You know what I mean?
Yes, I understand what you mean. But I think any taxes going down is the better for the population, because to me, I honestly believe this. Every penny spent by the government is inefficient. Every dollar spent by the government is inefficient. Government, by definition, is inefficient. It cannot be efficient. And one thing that I really appreciate is like we can see the very big difference, and thank you for bringing that up, Cora, where on one side they want to push the CBDC and Donald Trump stands against CBDCs, which I have been saying here, they cannot create a CBDC, is problematic. They will eventually endorse a stablecoin. I have been saying this for years now, and we see that happening. There will be endorsements of stablecoins, and I think they're going to endorse the stablecoin, which is US based, which is USDC. So I think it's great news for Circle. That's what I'm, again, not financial advice. I do believe they're going to be endorsing Circle because it is US based, it's New York based, and that will be the direction of the so-called CBDCs, will be stablecoins. And once they endorse stablecoins, the SWIFT system becomes obsolete. It is already obsolete because the technology that's better is already there. So another way to measure where you stand on being a totalitarian, CBDC versus Bitcoin. You see the other side, we're pushing for CBDCs. Donald Trump's side is saying no CBDCs. Now again, on the Bitcoin, how you call the mandate, executive orders that he signed, There's no Bitcoin on that document. What is there very clearly stated is you're going to be able to have custody. Nothing can be done against self-custody. Type there, just search self-custody, Cora, on the document.
I
No,
wanted
Bitcoin,
to
no.
Bitcoin
So
first because that way you can see that there's the word Bitcoin is not in this
on the
executive
document.
passport. Yeah.
Yes, so
No.
Donald Trump is not a Bitcoin maximalist.
Mhm.
People should, Bitcoiners should get to know that. So sorry for you, sailor, that want to use the government to say that everything besides Bitcoin is unregistered security. Donald Trump just issued his own. And by the way, Mike Saylor, you do issue registered security, which is your shares, which by the definition of the Bitcoin maximalist is just SHIT coin. So we all issue our own, you know? So you can see here, self-custody. Look at this. I love this part. Thank you, Cora. Protecting and promoting the ability of individual citizens and private sector entities alike to access and use lawful purpose open public blockchain network. Let me get this one out of the way. Without persecution, including the ability to develop and destroy and deploy software. So here we can already see that Tornado Cash should not be there. Develop and deploy software to participate in mining, validating to transact other persons without unlawful censorship, and maintain self-custody of digital assets. This to me is incredibly significant. Promoting and protecting the sovereignty of the United States dollar, including through the actions to promote development and growth of lawful and legitimate dollar-backed stablecoins worldwide. Those two here to me are the most significant. Self-custody is protected and is endorsed, but once again, remember the risks. If you want to go for self-custody, you need to prepare to become your own banker and make sure you can deal with the range attack, as we already show here. Now, this is great. Promote and protecting the sovereignty of the United States dollar, including through transactions to promote the development and growth of lawful, legitimate dollar-backed stablecoins. So I think this, to me, translates to USDC. This is an incredible, and here, CBDC, thank you. Taking measures to protect Americans from the risks of central bank digital currency, which I have been saying for a long time is a problem, which threatens the stability of financial system, individual privacy, and the sovereignty of the United States, including by forbidding the establishment, issuance, circulation, and use of CBDC within the jurisdiction of the United States of America. So perfect. These are the points that I think are good. Definitions for the purpose of digital asset. Look, digital asset refers to any digital representation of value that is recorded on the distributed ledger, including cryptocurrencies, digital tokens, and stable coins. Perfect. The term blockchain means the technology of data is shared across the network to create public ledger or verified transaction. I love this part here because I keep saying blockchain must be open. And look at this. What does blockchain mean? Shared across a network to create a public ledger of verified transactions or information among network participants. It's a perfect document. I don't know who wrote it, but I'm glad Donald Trump signed it and it became effective.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no such thing as private blockchain. It must be a public ledger within the US.
Can I ask you a crazy question? When you say
Go.
public ledger, we were just talking about Monero. Is that a public ledger? Would that now not qualify?
I would say Monero is because the status of the ledger is equally for everyone involved, right? It is an encrypted public ledger.
But it's not public in the sense of if I send you or you send Cora one Monero, then like nobody knows that it was like you can't see the transaction. Like you can't have,
No.
there's no thing, so it's not public per se.
No, it's
Just say,
public.
just want it. I just
It's
wanted
not
to.
decryptable. It's not
Yeah.
decryptable. It is still
Okay.
public. If you can find a way to decrypt it,
Yeah, I just wanted to like mix it up a bit.
yeah. But yeah, to me, that's public because everyone, there's no privileged access to some and unprivileged access to others. So I still consider Monero to be public. You're free to go and try to decrypt it. Hey, hello. All right,
So
what
I
else
just
is
came
there on
back. I
our?
just came back from the market, giving people some stuff.
And
All right.
one thing we didn't mention is here, look, before the document came up, let me show this. This is really something I want to share. Because before the document got signed, there were some posts, the information leaked that Donald Trump was going to sign executive order. And everyone, I think all the Bitcoiners were, oh, the Bitcoin thing, look, and it went here to 108, right? And then whoop. When they
It
didn't
was
find the word.
23, I think.
What?
It went out the 23, I believe.
So it's
23.
here. So it's here, yeah. So it went here to 106, 107, I think. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then phew, it's here, yeah. You're right, it wasn't. So here we go. The market was like thinking, oh, the word Bitcoin is going to be there, blah, blah, blah. And now it's leveling to 104, 105.
It's not a
So,
maximalist. Definitely not.
I
A
mean, he
Bitcoin.
created Trump coin, right, on Solana just before taking office. I mean, obviously, he's not a maximalist. But I do like that what I don't like about the idea of certain maximalists, man, you're free to be a maximalist, you're free to do whatever. Where I draw the line is when you want to use your influence to use government coercion and power to label everything that you don't like on registered securities, which is what Mike Silo tried to do. That is not to be a libertarian. The market decides what is best. And if the market decides that the Trump coin has to be worth more than BTC, so be it. If they decide it's Milana coin, Shiba Inu coin, Dogecoin, it's for the market to decide. It's not for one individual to have totalitarian, because to be a maximalist to the point where you want to use government intervention under the idea of protecting people, when you say, oh, we need to protect people from these scams or whatever, you are disrespecting people's sovereignty. And you're disrespecting their intelligence and their pathway into the ability of learning. And you want to use the government's violence and coercion to protect what you think is right and go against everything else. That is Hitler. That is Stalin. That is totalitarianism. The market decides what is better. And we have to agree with the market. The market is always right. So that's my view. If they decide XRP should surpass the market cap of BTC, I may not be on that boat, but I'll say, listen, the market decided without coercion. That's my view on that matter.
Yeah, I agree. I think we are
Okay.
no, go ahead.
Yeah. I think that was the. So is that the summary of the executive order? Let me see here.
The headline is not a summary, but yes.
Yeah, like the highlights, maybe.
The highlights, yes.
Mm-hmm.
No CBDCs. Self-custody is not to be violated. And blockchain is anything that has an open public ledger. I love that. Those are the points that are very significant to me. I don't know what's significant to other people. And
Also,
I do like the fact that Bitcoin is not on there mentioned per se, because then that means this is the right one, everything else is wrong. No, the market will decide. So go ahead, Corinne.
No, I was just gonna say that we have been talking about the Bitcoin Act 2024,
Yes.
and what they mentioned about the Bitcoin reserve or crypto reserve is not exactly the same either. It's more like saying like if they confiscate crypto from a criminal, they're gonna have it as reserve, but there's not this like million like
Yeah.
spending Bitcoin, nothing like that yet. I guess eventually they're gonna do something.
Yeah, it takes time. CZ from the former Binance thing, he put out a tweet I posted. It says U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve pretty much confirmed. Crypto moving at crypto speed again, and he was retweeting the Cynthia Loomis tweet, which is honored to share the Senate Banking Subcommittee on Digital Assets. So, and in that, there's a red, it's like a red thing with a quotes, red background, white writing with quotes. And it says a bunch of things. Let me just get to the point here. Legislation establishing comprehensive legal framework for digital assets and that strengthen the U.S. dollar, that strengthens the U.S. dollar with a strategic Bitcoin reserve. I am humbled. Okay, my colleagues place their trust. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So they want to strengthen the U.S. dollar with that does mention strategic Bitcoin reserve in it.
Yes, but I think that one, he cannot pass an executive order. I think for that kind of thing, first, I think it needs to be passing by the House of Representatives, by the Parliament, by Congress and the Senate. I think they have to be approved. Another thing that it needs to happen, there must be an entity either that's going to take responsibility or an entity created to be responsible for the custody of those things and where they're going to keep it. So I think it's a bit more complicated. I'm not sure. I think as of now, Jerome Powell already said that the Federal Reserve has no means to custody or to hold any Bitcoin. So either they're going to have to create an entity or a division within an entity like the Federal Reserve and say, okay, the Federal Reserve now is going to be able to learn custody and create a system of custody. And then from that moment on, they're going to be able to put BTC. And I would say more. I don't think Donald Trump will only make a reserve of BTC. I think there'll be more cryptocurrencies that will be part of that reserve. Once again, the president that the US has right now is not a maximalist, which means the US is not a maximalist. And by stating, just like you mentioned there, like Marcos mentioned, that any blockchain on the US will not be subject to capital gains, it seems like the US wants to be the hub of multiple chains. So the nation, the country, the US, will not be a maximalist country. Sorry for the Bitcoin maximalists, they're advocating for that. It's not going to happen. And I think it's the right approach. The market shall decide.
Yeah. Some other random news I've got. There was Justin Sun with Tron is going. I'm just trying to find it. Is going to release a USDD 2.0 stablecoin with a 20% APY. He says, so that'll be coming. He says the interest or whatever the APY will be on a separate wallet, and it'll be open to seeing. It's not just like a Ponzi. And we had a exchange called Phemex, PHEMEX. They had a hot wallet breach, 29 million in crypto potentially drained. And I think I saw a recent news article that was a couple days ago. And then recently they reopened withdrawals, so they're back in business.
Yeah,
so yeah, just be safe.
That's one of the things people need to work. No, I just want to combine, like, there's many factors that you need to be aware of. One is the branch attack, which is physical attack. The other one is being hacked. And like, you need education to enter this space. And once again, I don't care where you get it, but if you want to get it with us, use the link in the description and find out how to enter the crypto space safer, or at least diminishing the chance of you being attacked. I know that there's more people who understand this. However, I'm the only person in the crypto space that I know that do not have a bank account. So that means I have a lot more at stake than most people. So not having a bank account forces you to understand all the risks involved. cyber software attack, and of course the range attack, which is a physical attack that you need to protect yourself against. And also how to pass that to your spring in case you have kids and want to make sure that whenever you die, the funds go on the right direction, the direction that you desire them to go. What else is there, Jujin?
One more thing I wanted to point out as give a kind of like a gift to people that have tuned in for so long is there was an article that went by. It says Tron gears up for rivalry domination as Justin Sun teases update, and it goes on to say Tron founder Justin Sun said that in-house developers are working to reduce the network's gas fees to zero. And it says this move, if achieved, can change the dynamics of Tron's dominance in the stablecoin ecosystem. So Tron is TRX, as people know. So it's poised to challenge its competitors, obviously. Right now, I can tell you, having helped people with Tron transactions, the gas fees for sending stablecoins, simple transaction, somewhere like $3 to $5, as far as I remember. So it's up there. And so it goes on to say Wednesday's expos, the Sun revealed plans to reduce stablecoin transaction fees. He highlighted working on reducing these fees to zero. I don't know about zero, but let's say 1 penny or something like that would be pretty close to zero. So, and that's dated January 23rd, 2025. So that's that to me looks promising. I would keep an eye, not financial advice, but I would keep an eye on TRX at the moment with that information.
I mean, I think reducing fees are important and good. However, whenever the fee goes to zero, I'm suspicious because how are you gonna maintain it? Like, what are you going to inflate? Because you got to compensate the validators or the miners or whatever infrastructure you have one way or another. You can either reward them by fees or reward them by inflation. And I don't feel good about inflation. So, I mean, any cryptocurrency can kind of pretty much reward the network by inflation, but at one point, the value of that, I mean, we have seen governments doing that. It doesn't work. So I'm pro fees.
Yeah, I think it might be kind of like when I first think about it, it reminds me of like these big box stores where they use their strength and size to take out the small guys, where they able to put costs as close to wholesale as possible, and then that prices out everyone else. So if they can get fees really down, then the other competing layer twos of Ethereum and such will be, you know, the more business will move to Tron, and then they can put up their fees, and good to go.
Yeah, I think Binance does that with BNB, right? They started, I think, subsidizing certain things with exchange, and then I think today, like the fees, whenever I transact on the BNB chain, like the fees are negligible. And I think the same thing happens with Lightning, right? It's so many transactions. Because another thing is, if you attract a lot of people using your network, you have so many transactions that whatever fee you charge becomes incredibly significant. I think the same thing happened with BNB, Lightning, and a few other projects. I think then the only other concern is the DOS attack. Will be like how you protect yourself against the DOS attacks if your fees are very low. But that I think that becomes too technical for our audience. But those are the concerns that we got to take into consideration when you lower your fees too much. Another thing I want to do before we close this is, as far as I know, there's no news on Mr. Hart from PLS, so he's still a fugitive. I'll keep you guys posted, but somehow I'm not really that surprised that he's not revealing himself. Yeah. Any news you have? What?
No, I was just gonna say that he took care of his security, let's say, and his privacy.
Yes, he did. Anyway, so let's wrap it up. We spoke about
Hey, Boof, you know what went that didn't get a lot of play, which is crazy, is this whole hacking thing that happened. You know, people talk about crypto and this and that, but the banking sector, I posted a thing in our Telegram group because the whole government was being hacked from China, and then this article came out. It's from 18th of January. I posted it. Is Janet Yellen, Treasury Secretary Yellen's computer among 400 other systems hacked by China. So the U.S. Treasury has been hacked, and so that all that's in
I'll
China's
share that
hands.
here. I'll share that here so we can end with a humorous note. Yeah, people think only crypto can be hacked. I'm just I know it's not on the schedule for today, but let's take a look at this. Yes, here we have it. This one, right? And I love the name.
Yeah.
We're talking about privacy, right? Look at who writes it. Tyler Durden. If you guys do not know who Tyler Durden is, you need to watch Fight Club. So, yeah, this is the one. Chinese hackers who breached the Treasury Department were focused on sanctions, international affairs, and intelligence, according to the new report from Bloomberg. The breach reached more than 400 laptop and desktop computers. They say hackers accessed employee credentials, over 3,000 files from unclassified personal computers, including policy documents, travel records, organizational charts, and sensitive law enforcement data. The report revealed while they stole some material classified and email systems were not breached. Okay. While they stole some material classified and email systems were not breached. The Bloomberg report said that hackers also accessed files to investigations by a committee of foreign investment in the U.S., which accesses national security risks of certain real estate and foreign investments. A report to Congress reveals that Chinese state-sponsored hackers identified as Silky Typhoon or UNSC 5221 breached the Treasury Department through contractors network, prioritizing document theft and operating cells. So here's Janet Yellen. Yes, this is one thing that brings another concern to us. I mean, electrical, automobiles, water system, computerized electrical meters, people putting solar panels on their houses instead of becoming dependent from the grid, feeding that to the grid. I mean, the entire world, Internet of Things, all of these things are hackable. We are creating a very vulnerable world where everything is hackable. I love when I turn on my motorcycle, it's not a modern one, has no computers. I love when I drive an old car that has no computer in it. Like, it gives me a sense of security. As a hacker, you want less hackable things in your life, not more. And I think the governments are moving towards these hackable devices because they do want to monitor you. But on the other hand, they also become vulnerable. We're going to see a day where a lot of things will be shut down because everything is hackable. Locks at doors of your house is hackable. Things that are not like the air humidifier that I have doesn't have a turn on button, it has to be turned on by an app. All those things are hackable. We don't need all those things. So maybe I should talk more about the dangers of a hackable world. In terms of geopolitics, also one thing we did not speak is the world is becoming a bit more peaceful. There is a prospect for peace between Ukraine and Russia. Vladimir Putin had stated very openly that if Trump was in power, there would be no war. That war would never happen. There was a suspension of the funds to Ukraine promoted by Donald Trump. So in terms of geopolitics, it looks positive to the market because we're going to have a more peaceful place. However, in the Middle East, as I predicted, there's going to be increased tension. We saw some people being kidnapped by the Houthis. I think Houthis kidnapped a few people from the UN. So the Middle East conflict continues to be, we have escalation there, but there will be the escalation, in my view, on the conflict in Ukraine and here in Europe. So that is another good news we can share with the world today. But I think we're here for almost 2 hours. We can wrap it up, right, Cora?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I thought they like Trump did something for a ceasefire. Was it?
Yes, the ceasefire that is in Israel and Gaza. The Houthis is on the other side of the Horn. I mean, and they captured some UN members, and I
this,
remember go ahead, Cora. Huh?
no, yes, but there's still like another thing besides Ukraine that is decreasing. Okay.
Yeah, so Ukraine is decreasing. I would say Middle East is increasing. I remember making those predictions. You already see that happening now. And one thing which I predict, and I remind you guys, we are past a known negligible chance that there's going to be a direct conflict between Iran and Israel, in the sense that Israel is going to attack. Now, Iran cannot defend itself against Israel. I'm not sure how that's going to happen. And we noticed this when Iran attacks, they pretty much notify Israel, we're going to be sending these missiles, we're going to be sending these, defend yourself. So it's not real an attack, it's more a stage thing between Iran and the population. They can show face to the population, but Iran is not attacking Israel because it can't. And I think Israel is realizing that Iran cannot defend itself. And I think this year or next year, we're going to see Israel attacking Iran, trying to make sure that they don't get nuclear weapons. But there is peace. There's more approximation between Russia and US. There's even some approximation. Well, I don't want to expand much on this. We're going to talk about this in the future, but there's more approximation between China and US as well. So the tensions between China, US, Russia, US, and Ukraine are lowering. However, the Middle East tensions continue to increase. So I think those are the updates I can give on terms of geopolitics. If you want to find out more about this, please subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and like whatever video content you enjoy. If you enjoyed this live, give it a like. And I think with this, we are getting ready to wrap it up. Remember, we also have an academy. We do provide education. We do teach people how to enter the crypto space safer and how to protect yourself from a range attack, how to protect yourself from the possibility of being hacked, and most importantly, how you can pass your cryptocurrencies to your next generation in case you need to do that. And there's a few other things that there are benefits of being part of the academy. One is the community and a few other networks that we do have in the academy. With this, I'll thank everyone for being here. And once again, like the content. If you did, do like, subscribe, click the notification bell. And if you don't like that, if you do not like the content, let us know on the comments below what you did not like and how we can improve for next live. Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you, Juche. Thank you, Marcos. I'll pass the word to you guys in case you want to say something else before we end this live.
See you next time. That's all I have to say.
Yep.
Ciao.
We can end the live and then keep this going. And then I got a possible improvement.
Okay.
The only
Thank
thing
you.
I wanted to mention is that if anybody is interested in, contact us, there are several ways below in the description. There is a way to talk to you directly, which is Clubhouse from Tuesday to Friday at 7 a.m. EST every week. And also the Wednesday is live. You can join a Zoom call with us and talk directly with Wolf and all the other members. And also there's links for the academy as well. So there are different ways for, to contact in case you would like to improve your security or any other aspect of your crypto journey too. That would be it.
Okay,
Thank
so
you
then we
so
can
much.
end the live.
Yeah. Okay. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.
My GPS location is in the description.